was that? I thought it would be fun to talk about a spec project that I recently DP'd, almost entirely shot in black and white. And there's some interesting challenges that come up with shooting a project like that. The project was shot using my red Komodo with the DZO Pictor zooms and the Laowa 12mm. We shot it over about 4 days, 2 locations, really minimal crew. Most of the time just me and Claire. I want to run through some pre-production and then we'll get through some of the lighting and cinematography and we'll break it down on the computer. From the outset, we wanted to shoot this in black and white. I think that's kind of key to making this look work, is that you really do need to commit to it. My dad turned me onto this show called Ripley, which I became a complete fanboy for. I was obsessed with it. I was also inspired by films like Dr. Strangelove, La Haine, a lot of Akira Kurosawa's films like Rashomon. I was also inspired by a couple of my favorite black and white photographers like Ezra Stoller and Fan Ho. Like with Fan Ho, like some of these shots, like this one of these people at a train station. Ezra Stoller, I've always been a massive fan of his work on architecture photography, specifically in the airports. We looked into renting locations, but being in New York, I mean, you're gonna have to give up your firstborn child to be able to afford a location on a budget like this. We just ended up using our apartment, which ended up being like the perfect spot. The story is supposed to be about a journalist author who's stuck in a perfectionism loop. This is something that I suffer from all the time. The closer I get to the end of a project, the less excited I get about it, the more problems I see with it. And I really wanted to embody those feelings into this project. We went full on into set design. We wanted it to feel like a journalist's office that travels around a lot. We wanted to make the time period of the piece kind of ambiguous, feeling of the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. We knew we wanted to have like a feature wall that would kind of show the characters' journeys and reflect her mind and all that. So we made this feature wall with photographs from our travels, like from around the world, and filled it up with newspaper clippings and a mixture of handwritten and typewritten notes, along with like post-it notes, foreign currency. Then also went to a couple of junk stores and got like a bunch of old worn postcards. Took a lot of these notes that we made, and to age them up, we dyed them in tea, and then we'd sandpaper the edges sometimes just to roughen them up. We printed all of the photographs in black and white. The density was going to matter more than the color value of the photographs. So I wanted to make sure that there was enough variation of darks and lights to make the wall pop in black and white. Claire also managed to find this like old glow, which was a really good, a really nice touch. I ended up using CAD Ridge a lot to test out focal lengths and fine frames. The windows of the apartment are north facing, which means that it doesn't get any direct sun for the whole day, which is pretty perfect. We had this balcony that's outside, which was perfect because it means that we could light through the windows. Now I want to get into like some of the shots and talk about some of the lighting and the framing. To start, we've got this opening shot. We shot this with a 300D going into a 4x4 frame just off screen here. That's kind of giving this light on the side of her face. The frame was lined with a shower curtain, which ends up being kind of like a half frost or a quarter frost. And you can see the frame in her highlight there. Shooting in black and white, you need to adopt harder light sources. When you shoot in color, we're always trying to avoid that feeling of the source. But in black and white, if you take that same approach, very gradual, soft lighting, a lot of the time you'll find that things become murky and gray and they lack definition and they lack contrast. So you need to pump a lot more contrast, a lot more hard light to give the perception of depth. In color, this shot feels overly lit, but in black and white it fits really well. To wrap the light around, there's a small panel light, which is about it's like a 24 TDX falconized panel with a bit of diffusion and a little bit of a grid. We put a Titan tube back here just to give her a little bit of separation here and a little bit of an edge light, like it's coming from that window here. We then negged everything else to be able to bring the ambient level down and increase the contrast ratios on her face here. I'm ultimately looking to create shots that have these layers of light and dark, call it checkerboarding. There's darkness, there's light, there's darkness, there's light. And it just makes layered, interesting images. Her eye opening here. This is on the Laowa 12mm. We call it the lens because it just kind of makes everyone's face look That Laowa 12mm got a really close focus, so we were able to get the camera really, really close to her eye, get this like dilation effect where a pupil kind of opens up. Ask the actor to close their eyes for 30 seconds and then open it up. Big wides like this are always tricky. The more of the room you see, specifically of a smaller room, the more difficult everything becomes. You need more powerful lights, you need more of them, you need to be more creative with your rigging. We set the camera up on a Dana dolly because we wanted to move into this shot. We're shooting into the L of the room, so I don't like shooting up against flat walls. I just like to shoot into corners if I can. We wanted it to feel like we were entering her stuck world. There's a wall on the side here and this countertop on the side, and pushing through gives this feeling of entering that stuck world, this perfectionism cage that she set up for herself. And we put a 600D just here that's way up high with a Fresnel on it with barn doors. I like lights when they're outside and they're mimicking sunlight to come from up high and try and get them as far away from the window as I can. The further the light travels, the more consistent that beam will be. Like bigger sets, you'll often bounce lights across mirrors, which increases the travel and then increases the consistency of the light beams. We angled it just right so it would just give this, it would go through this window here, and it would give this edge light on her face, which would draw people's eye, and then also give this nice hard light on her shirt here. We're looking to do some soft hob, which is soft on face, hard on body. It's also giving this like light streak down there on the floor, which is a nice bit of visual interest. These are blackout curtains. I often try and get blackout curtains with these shearling curtains, like these thin ones, so that you can shape the light and then diffuse it. And it also makes it easier to hide lights outside. After we set that up, the scene was like completely in silhouette. So I knew that we needed to get a key in somewhere, probably around here. Tried to put a light here on a C-stand, but there just wasn't any space. So I used a trick that I learned from watching Deacons operate on a couple of behind the scenes stuff, like No Country for Old Men. Took a 300D on a C-stand over here and put a spotlight on it, and then shot the spotlight into the wall here and made it like a big focused square of light. And that's bouncing back, illuminating down here and filling in and bringing this level up here. I use this trick all the time when there's not really a lot of space, and it means that you can kind of put a light far away from where you're actually doing it and shoot it into the wall, and then it just like acts like a little bit of a softbox. Yeah, we negged out the rest of the room just to bring the level down a little bit, and then we flagged the bounce light just a little bit just to stop it from spilling everywhere. And yeah, that's kind of it. That's the shot. 2 lights and a bunch of neg and a hope. Photographs. This shot was pretty cool. It's like everything that's like going on in her mind, like weighing down on her. This is inspired by a shot from True Detective. He's got that cross above the top of his head. It's a pretty simple lighting for this. I mean, it's basically side lighting. The window in the earlier shot is right here. So we just took the 600 and then blasted it into one of those shower curtain diffusions. Ended up being about 6x6. Negged off this side here, put some neg up, and that's kind of it. Bob's your uncle. Desk shot here. This is the Laowa 12mm again. We really lent into dramatic angles here. So we shot into the corner of the room again. There's a couple of leading lines leading to her, like these books here are leading towards her head. This is leading towards her. These lines here are leading towards her. We actually wrote out all of these notes using the typewriter. We lit this with a 600D in the spotlight, again, outside on that balcony. That's shooting in and giving this edge light on her, and then giving this light beam across the desk. And then that 300D is over here out of frame, going through that shower curtain again, which is giving this light here. And then everything else is negged off on this side. This window here, we basically blacked out so that there's no uncontrolled ambient levels coming in. I wanted this to feel like we're kind of coming down on top of her. She feels a bit stuck. She feels a bit uncomfortable, especially when she's looking kind of avoidantly away from the camera. Claire did a really excellent job at displaying that kind of nervous, stuck, vulnerable energy. It's pretty much the same concept, light outside the window, except we just moved the 600 so that it's hitting the wall here, giving these like streaks of sunlight. And then the 300D going into the diffusion, which is giving this right here. And then we ended up putting a falcon eyes just above here to give this lift on her head here, and you can see the frame in her eyes there. If the lighting was a little bit too soft, what we do is we just move the frame back a little bit, which makes it smaller and will make the light harder. This shot was really fun, actually. We did some interesting stuff here when it comes to her wee eye light. I wanted to make sure that we got like a nice eye light so that there's like a little bit of interest in this shot, because there's a lot of layers going on here. So there's the paper, there's her face and her eyes, and then these kind of like reminders of what's going on in her mind in the back here. So we lit this using the 300D with the frame again, but I put black gaffer tape on the front of the frame to kind of make it look like a window, which you can see in her eye light there. It's kind of like these little lines to just kind of make it feel like a little bit more real, so it doesn't just feel like there's a light going into her, but it's actually like light coming in from the window. Her eye light looks like a little bit like a croissant, actually. And then we flashed the 600 in behind here with the reflector dish. I think it was through the window, just to lift up the back wall here so that there's those levels that I was telling you about. So we're looking for this darkness, this light, this darkness, and this light. And then these little pictures here are adding this visual interest. Her eyes are darting around, and it looks really interesting. Yeah, I think that's it for this one. So peace out.